Okay, so on this episode of Truternology, I'm joined by Mr. Greg Hastings. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm a big fan of yours for 1,000 years.
Sometimes it feels like I am 1,000 years old, and sometimes it feels like the two of us have been involved in paintball for 1,000 years.
We have grown together. I've enjoyed watching all the things that you've involved yourself with or supported. I've been fortunate enough to have some really good friends from traveling.
Right.
Two people in particular, Simon Stevens and
Okay.
you. Two old school friends. I just remember like the first time meeting and becoming instant friends. Like there wasn't a long lead up.
No.
And just I can literally go back to those times where I recall your face meeting you for the first time, and it's specifically in England. And you two guys are my probably the two that I just off the top of my head I remember. We were friends instantaneously, always friendly and cordial ever since, and here we are today, 20 plus years later.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? And I think a little bit of cordiality goes a long way. So
Yep.
This story would be much better, by the way, if you add in, we just had a cup of tea, had some scones, and it was just like, we instantly hit it off.
Yep.
Take
Absolutely.
two. Let's go. No, so
Well, we got
backtrack.
coffee. I got coffee. Hold on.
I'm close. Backtrack a bit. How did Greg Hastings discover paintball? What was your route into this crazy hobby sport that we have?
Man, so I was a professional break dancer.
Ooh,
Crazily enough.
right. Put the laptop on the coffee table and bust out some moves.
No. I practice every once in a while, but I was into b-boying.
So when you say professional break dancer, you
Yeah, I
mean
would
actually
perform.
paid to break dance?
Yeah, I was a choreographer. When I was a little kid, I had a couple groups that I would bounce
wow.
around in, and we'd get paid at events to dance and just entertain kids, adults, parties. Yeah, it was kind of fun.
Okay.
I graduated to doing some choreography for other groups.
Oh, wow.
And went on to win some really big events. But I ended up breaking my leg in a car accident.
Oh, okay.
So my b-boying career was over.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, mine never started, and I didn't even have to go through the whole car accident stuff or anything. But
I was on crutches for about a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
While they operated on my leg, broke my finger. And after I was all healed up, I'm 21 years old, and I was living a wild lifestyle.
Okay.
I was not proud of a lot of the things I was doing. I was working a construction job, nothing too crazy. I wasn't on the.
Okay.
I didn't have one toe in going to jail or anything, but
Right.
I didn't have a good direction.
Okay.
One of my best friends at the time, he literally died in my arms. He broke his neck in a pool accident. So that kind of jarred me to because it's hard when you're young. It's hard to look at yourself from the outside in. That's
Sure.
usually an adult thing. You look back.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
One moment of clarity got me to think about I need to jar my current lifestyle. I need to shake it up. I need to
Gotcha.
find direction. And then I realized one of my other friends, Louis Tomaso, was already in the Navy.
Okay.
He joined the submarine force. He would come home on the weekends. He was stationed up in Connecticut, just up from New Jersey. So I would
Gotcha.
see him, not all the time, but fairly often. And he joined right out of high school, whereas I didn't. So I was messing around.
Okay.
So he invited me to come up to Connecticut to do a tour on his submarine. And while I was up there, before I had drove up there,
Yeah.
like, hey, while you're up here, we're gonna go play this thing. They didn't call it paintball; they called it skirmish. And so we're gonna go try this thing called skirmish. And I'm like, well, what the heck is that? He goes, we're gonna shoot each other with paintballs. And I'm like, yeah.
I mean,
I'm like, well, what do I wear? And he goes, the brochure says just wear stuff you're gonna run around in the woods with and blast each other. I'm like, all right.
cool.
So I got a sweatshirt and some gloves and some stuff. I had no idea what to expect. And so it was an epic weekend. We went and I toured a submarine and went and played paintball. Both changed my life for this one weekend. This is the single weekend that totally a pinball ricochet of life. I got to see. I got to walk on the latest and greatest nuclear-powered fast attack submarine.
Wow.
And then I got to play this game called Paintball, but it wasn't even called Paintball.
Wow.
So when I left there, my mind was blown. And I had both of these things in my head. Paintball. And leading up to how I got into there and how I tied in the adrenaline rush that paintball gave me, gave the exact feeling of me being in the hood, 10 blocks away from the nearest white person, battling Puerto Ricans, Filipinos, black dudes, everybody. I'd be literally the only white guy for blocks, b-boying, and that level of intensity and of that adrenaline rush.
It's just that buzz.
Battle got me, and it was the only thing that I could feel. It's like being a drug addict.
Wow.
And then, trying different drugs and you can't find that drug, and then all of a sudden you find that drug, and paintball reminded me and made me feel, because it made you scared to death.
Sure.
But that exact same feeling. So that was it, man. I was hooked. Because I didn't b-boy anymore. And that was literally how I got into paintball. I felt that exact same feeling from breaking and b-boying and popping.
Okay.
It was crazy.
Now, was it like, was it instant? As in, beatboxing is done, breakdancing is done, all of that's gone, paintball's in. Complete immersion? Or was there a transition?
That's about it. It was about a year and a half to 2 years from stopping breaking because of my injury.
Right.
Then finding that I liked submarines. I was like, wow.
Right.
And paintball, I was like, wow.
Right.
So I ended up joining the Navy.
Okay.
And I joined the submarine force.
Okay.
And I'll fast forward a little bit, and I'll backtrack if you like. But my first duty station was San Diego, right out of boot camp.
Oh, that's not too shabby.
Ended in San Diego, and I had my duffel bag. And the first the first hour, I dropped my bag, boom, next to my barracks and my bunk beds, right?
Right.
And there's this little chubby guy named Jim Snodgrass. By the other way, the other guy was Lou Tomaso.
Okay.
Lou Tomaso was my buddy who took me. We were friends in New Jersey, and in high school we were in a youth group together, so we were familiar with each other.
Gotcha. Okay.
And now when I landed in the Navy, and my bunkmate right there, and they only say that in the Navy, my bunkmate. I dropped my bag, and the first thing out of his mouth, like maybe the first 5 words out of his mouth is, "Hey, did you ever play paintball?"
Oh wow!
Right. This is exactly how this happened.
Wow.
And yeah, I played it last year. It was awesome. And he reaches under his bag and pulls out this case and pulls out a Nell Spot 007. And he goes, "You want to play paintball?" And I go, "Fuck yes, I do." He goes, "I already researched where to buy the equipment and where to go," and I'm like, "I'm in."
Wicked.
So fast forward again, for the next year and a half, I played paintball every single Saturday and Sunday, and I went and bought my own stuff. And I still have my first set of goggles and
that's neat.
My first paintball gun that I ever bought with Jim Snodgrass. He took me, we went to the store. That's the first time I ever tried a MagFed, because everybody's all MagFed, and you're like, "Oh, Greg, you're a speedballer turned woods baller." I'm like, "Fuck you. I've been playing MagFed paintball because the first time
original MagFed,
a Mac 10 magazine fed um, man, it's basically a full auto machine gun.
Right,
And
gotcha.
fed. So in 1988, I played and shot mag-fed weapons, but I also had my first brass pump gun, my first set of goggles.
Gotcha. So
All
that
that
was
in
so
1988.
this was 88.
Yeah, so I played for the first time in 1987 because of
Gotcha.
Tommaso, and then early, like within 6 months, I played my second time with Jim Snodgrass and bought my first gear. So I never even, the second time I played, I had all my own equipment,
Love it.
camo, pouches, gloves, everything. So,
Now are those two guys still around?
oh yeah, I still talk. I still see and talk to both of those guys.
Do you ever get to drag them out to play?
So Jim Snodgrass lives in Arizona now, but
Okay.
I met him in back up in Montana where he's from.
Gotcha.
A fishing trip,
Oh,
and that
nice.
was great to catch up with him. And then Louis Tommaso, I see all the time. We'll be best friends forever. In fact, one time our submarines were in port at the same time. His submarine was there, and my submarine were in the same port at the same time. One time in man, I don't remember where. I don't even remember where it was. It's
Somewhere
a
in the world.
fast-paced lifestyle when you're a fast submarine.
Love it. Now, obviously, being employed in the Navy at the time must have given you, onshore time I can appreciate you're going to play paintball. Offshore time I can appreciate it's impossible to. What was the kind of the distribution between those two times? As in, was it like you're deployed for 9 months, or is it like you're out for a month and back? How frequent was your paintball?
A fast attack boat can go out for a day, come back.
Oh.
Can go out 3 weeks, come back. We're like the cops. We're like
See,
a fast.
that's my type of submarine, if I'm honest. None of this, Hunt for Red October stuff.
No.
That's what I was envisaging. So, okay. So that's
It's
88.
like, we're like the firemen. If you picture a fireman where the bell rings and guys are
Gotcha.
sliding down a pole and they're jumping onto their truck and they're racing off to a fire.
There we go.
That's a fast attack submarine. You're leaving tomorrow. Grab your bag and you
like
never
it.
come back.
Now, fast forward a decade.
When we pulled in the port, and you can ask any of my Submariner buddies, I would load up my submarine with magazines, paintball magazines.
Printed magazines.
Everywhere, newspapers, every
Right.
paintball magazine that I could find
Gotcha.
everywhere in my submarine. And when we pulled in, I organized events, and I got 50, 60, 70 of my shipmates to go play paintball on numerous occasions.
Awesome.
So to this day, I still play paintball with a few of my old shipmates who have
That's
never played
awesome.
paintball before, but I got them into it.
I love it. Now,
Like Hansberry.
now that was 88. Fast forward to 98. Where in the world were you then? What were you doing?
1998, I was playing amateur paintball with either the Free Agents
Okay.
or Turbulence, but that's when I invented my comfort pack.
Oh,
That was right
okay.
at my early development stages, and when I was
Gotcha.
inventing,
Of
and I
course.
first showed off my pack system at Skyball
Okay.
in Toronto. So I was playing full-time paintball,
Gotcha.
and my job at the time, oddly enough, I was a private detective.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for a few years, I was, I guess about 3 or 4 years, when I got out of the Navy, I became a private detective.
Was that a good gig, or was that just a kind of a
It allowed me
stopgap?
to turn into a professional paintball player.
Okay.
I picked and chose my cases. So most weekends I had off. So I did most of my my spy work during the week. And
Wow.
yeah, and while I'm sitting watching houses or sitting in a dumpster or hiding behind something or doing whatever, I was sketching paintball designs,
Okay.
inventing products, and that gig allowed me to start my business, Reds.
Gotcha.
So all of the products that I designed for Reds all got invented sitting in my spy car with my sketch
On
pad
stakeouts.
on stakeouts.
Nice.
And I made great money, and I was able to join a team and travel. and do
Nice.
all the things necessary to train every single weekend wherever, because I got really good at what I did. I made good money, and then I traveled
Okay.
uh, all over the
So
place.
so we jumped a decade. Let's jump another decade. Let's go to like 2008. Where does that put you?
2008, man, I have three hit video games out. I played for world champion paintball teams, but
Wow.
I left the tournament scene
Gotcha.
and started to go. I was either out of the tournament scene
So we've
and
jumped
start my what I call now my tour of duty,
so we
which is
jumped too big then. So your final year on the tournament scene was what? 2004, 5 about that? Or was it or am
I
I
would
way
say
off?
right around 2006,
Right.
2007. I left Excessive
Right.
and went to play for New Jersey Authority with all my old Ground Zero buddies and
Oh.
strange
Yeah. Yeah.
teammates. Mr. Butler out of New Jersey,
That's right.
God rest his soul, he passed away.
Yes.
But I said to myself, because I was, everybody, all these pros are out there, they're all like, oh, they do these announcements of their retirements, and I'm like, I always look at those. I was like, that's silly. I'm like,
Yeah, I
I
must
never
have missed
retired.
my
I'm still a professional paintball player today.
it's
I,
it's very strange. It's a strange dynamic because in one context I can understand you're no longer, competing, but in another context you're more active than ever before. So, professional paintballer is really a broad description that encompasses an awful lot, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it's funny that you mentioned Jersey Authority because that's the name that I definitely remember fondly because at the time they were quite close to Rhode Island. I was working for Eclipse. I know
Yeah.
Jacko had good relationships with the Butlers,
Yeah.
and it was
We shot Eclipse at the I believe we shot
yeah,
all Eclipse stuff at the time.
that's right, yeah, and it was very much part of the era that most of the current generation will never have heard of.
Yeah.
So wow,
Yeah. It was a good gig, man.
wow,
But I felt it at that time. I'm running businesses.
yeah,
I have high aspirations and lofty goals in my businesses and growing the sport, and the current that particular climate in tournament paintball. Um, I was no longer interested in that tough guy mentality
right,
and that internal fight to outdo my teammates to keep a spot on the roster,
sure.
which sometimes gets
That's a great insight because I was
it's
just about
a
to
tough
ask,
game
at
because you want
that,
to maintain them as friends, but it becomes cutthroat, and
yeah,
I no longer wanted to do that anymore.
well,
I decided to bail, and I didn't like X ball. I didn't
right,
like it. Got boring to me. Run, 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 shoot, 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 dive into the same spot, shoot, and you know what I mean. And then
and you were a guy who could run as well,
yeah,
athletic. For it to
it
get,
got
I
boring.
can understand it getting boring to an unathletic guy.
Yeah,
I didn't like the run, run, run bit. I liked the shoot, shoot, shoot bit,
right.
but I was going to ask when you were so 2006, 2007. You done well with some product releases. You were kind of probing into the video games market. You had Greg Hastings tournament paintball out at that stage.
2007. I was already on my third title.
Oh wow. Okay, so even better for this
Millions of
question.
games sold. Yeah, I was already
So
on my third game out.
so by that stage, the average mentality of most pros, I expect, was, how can I be featured in your game, Greg?
Oh
How
yeah.
did you kind of, how did you not police that, but did you treat everybody with I got to keep you at arm's length, or were there certain people who you wanted involved because of your history with them? How did you separate the wheat from the chaff? Is I get what I'm trying to say?
Well, I'm not a marketing professional by trade. I didn't go to school for any of that. I just figured it out.
Right.
Uh,
this works. I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah. So I just, for whatever reason, I got a good eye for what I now call critical partnerships, but we can come back to that.
Okay.
It is a way to understand what somebody else needs.
Okay.
And then align that need with my need.
Okay.
And then team up.
Gotcha.
That's the basics of that.
Okay.
So skipping back to before my first video game came out.
What was the first one, and when was that?
That was so you got to go back to 2000.
Are we going back to Game Boys, or are we
before that? 2002, 2003.
Right.
Well, the first person you asked me a question about how do you work with other pros, and
Correct.
I'll tell you, yeah. I called Chris Lasoya.
Okay.
He was the first guy I called.
That's interesting.
Chris Lasoya was the first guy I called because I knew I wanted to sign top level pros to join me.
Gotcha.
And here's a true story. This video game franchise, and I'll get back to that part. When I first came up with the idea to do a paintball video game, it was just that. It was not I want a video game, a Greg Hastings video game.
Sure.
Never. It was never on my mind.
Okay.
Being on the cover, never even thought about that.
What was the first working title that you had for it? Can you remember?
I do. Man, we bounced around with Hyper Paintball.
Okay.
Paintball Attack, all kinds of stuff. I remember all the sketches and the different cover things.
Gotcha.
But it was spread out over a good year, and our direction changed a couple times. I was at a business meeting. Now I had raised about $500,000 at this point.
Okay.
Maybe about $300,000 at this point. And I had acquired some early adopting angel investors to help fund this. Now that money went to pay for a demo with a firm called WXP in Seattle.
Yep.
And this demo, the first thing they ever did, and this is before this, is they made a 3D animated paintball player, me, on their specific proprietary engine.
Right.
And they gave me this disc, a video of the disc.
I mean, that tells us how old it is to get a disc.
So he gave me this disc, and I went and I called Chris Lasoya, and I go, I'm going to blow your mind. And I told him it was super top secret, and he wasn't to discuss it with anybody.
Okay.
And I put my laptop, and I hit go, and there I am. I'm holding my gun, and you can zoom in on my face, and I'm blinking, and I'm a 3D animated player. So I was the first 3D animated professional paintball player. And I go, I want you to be one of my top pros that I feature in the game.
Cool.
And he said yes. And then he signed on the dotted line, and I licensed Chris Lasoya.
Now, was that a paid agreement for Mr. Lasoya? Or it was just like, use this as a platform to promote yourself?
Yep, as a platform to promote himself.
Great. I mean, that's, that's a sign of the times as they were then, right? That was an opportunity that nobody else was giving.
Well, Chris is a smart guy. I told him, I said, I'm raising the money to do this, right?
Yeah.
There's no money to be paid out here. I'm not getting paid. There's no, this is a project.
Yes.
Right? There's no back end. There's, because we don't know that I can't even see the back end.
No. No.
It's fluid.
This is it. Yeah, this is
fluid,
it.
Right? So this is the opportunity right here. Sign, your likeness will be in there. And then what I ended up doing was I ended up signing 12 of the most the best known paintball players in the world at the time.
Can you remember who you had? Can you remember the 12?
Man.
I'm going to guess. So
Alex, Frazee, Matt Marshall, uh,
Did you have Rocky? News?
Rocky Cagnoni. I had Lisa Harvey
Okay.
and Keely Watson, um, B. Youngs,
Yeah.
uh, Rich Telford. Uh, I know I'm probably skipping a
Did
few
you have
in
Nikki
there.
Cuba or anyone like that?
Nikki Cuba had Nikki Cuba. So it's about 13 or 14 key.
Okay.
And at the time, they're all at the top of their game. They're all playing at different. I got some East Coast hotness,
Yes.
some West Coast hotness. And if you remember correctly, I signed them all, and I signed them all exclusively to my thing. It was very narrow. Um, and I remember I upset a lot of people when Jerry Braun and all the NXL, all those people were trying to find deals, and they were all like, "Oh shit, Greg Hastings is signing all the top level pros," and I was like,
Right.
I just look back and I just think of all the unprofessionalism and the lies and the bullshit that a lot of those people were feeding these pros, and I didn't feed them any bullshit. I go, this is something to help you promote yourself, and then I kept those guys in my game, and when I was able to get a second game,
Yep.
uh, I wrote a check to every one of those guys for $5,000 each.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I went back and I paid them all.
Nice.
Paid them.
So that was, leap of faith rewarded.
Yep. I went back and I didn't even have to do it. Wasn't even in my contract.
Yeah.
And my business partner and I were like, we were sitting on this money, and these pros honored us, so we wrote checks.
Nice.
And went back and handed them all checks.
Who was the looking back on that period? Who was the one that you were most pleased you chose to work with? Either, from like a personal relationship you had with them, or, it enabled them to develop their career more.
Level wise?
Yeah.
I can't narrow it down to one. At the time,
I'll let you have two.
every single one of the pros was over the top enthusiastic and gave me that extra edge to drive this home, because when Activision started to sniff around about doing their own video game, they sent their feelers out to World Cup one time, and they're like, and they went to booth to booth to booth to booth to booth, and at every single booth they're like, yeah, we want to do a paintball video game. They're like, oh, you need to talk to Greg Hastings, he's already doing a game.
Right.
They're like,
perfect.
So after 30 people told them, yeah, you got to talk to Greg, he's already doing a video game, they're like, who's Greg Hastings, and what do you mean they're doing a video game? So about a month after that World Cup, all the top executives from Activision showed up in Seattle, and I had Keely Watson there looking sexy hot. I had Lisa Harvey there looking sexy hot. I had Alex Frazier there looking sexy hot. And I forget who else. I might have had Nikki there.
The looking sexy hot bit, I don't think you can bracket those three in the same vein. No offense, Alex. The other two have the slight edge.
Well, when they came in, because they're not just pros, they were all good mouthpieces of our sport as well.
They were.
If you've ever talked to Alex Frazier, if you ever just talked to Rich Telford, you're looking, they're going to look you right in the eye, and they're going to give you a top-level professional response. Keely Watson, if you recall, is very well-spoken. So these people add a profession. At the time, added this amazing professional level of attack to the industry.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because Rich, especially for me, is the one guy who I probably had the greatest insight into in that era, working for Eclipse and being one of the pivotal supporters of the team from a sponsorship perspective. So we got access all areas. They would stage at the Eclipse booth, etc. When things were good, you would see how Rich treated his players, etc. When things were bad, you would see how he treated his players and cultivated his players and their mindsets, and I very vividly remember watching him and this is me as a kid, in relative terms, playing paintball. I was an aspiring pro for Nexus, and I could see how my peers were developing their talent, and it's quite something to experience a Telford telling off from 5 feet away.
Yeah, I've had some encounters with him. He was my team captain for a few years.
You should have just tickled him and then run like
Well,
hell.
I'm different, and I'll tell you why I'm different. I was a Navy diver,
Yep.
and I was a part of being a submariner. So I'm not looking down my nose, and I'm not looking down at professional paintball.
Sure.
Uh, but I'm used to those type of situations. I was 24 years old, and
Yeah.
I'm the Navy diver locker supervisor on a nuclear powered submarine, and a Navy SEAL team shows up and they want to lock out of my submarine. So that's the level that I am
Sure.
understand. I literally at 24 years old have to deal with a Navy SEAL team, and they want to lock out of my submarine on a fast attack submarine. So fast forward, now I'm on this other team, and I got Rich Telford yelling at me.
Navy SEAL Telford. Yeah.
There's no, and that's why I never interacted. I'm going to come up to my point while I was different. I never played the cards about being better than one of my other teammates.
Sure.
That is common in a pro level team. That
Sure.
cutthroat level of the behind the scenes. Nah, he's not good, because you're never going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it happened on my team, even at Rich's level. But I never argued. I'm like, okay. So if I ever got benched, or a teammate of mine would talk bad about me, totally unwarranted, but I could see what they were doing.
Sure.
And I would just shake my head. I'm like, okay.
Sure. I mean, that was the mentality when, paychecks were bandied about. Really, that was the first time that players really got paid.
Yep.
In the early 2000s, aside from money that you win at events, etc., etc. So going back to the video game stuff, the latest release, or the upcoming release rather, is Fields of Battle 2, I believe.
Fields of Battle 2, yeah, my mobile game. Follow up to Fields of Battle, my current mobile game. Let me give you some quick stats.
Yeah, that'd be great.
My game is basically the World Cup every single Friday.
Ooh.
For the last 4 years.
Okay.
And that's just the competition. So I have a competition on my mobile game called Friday Night Fights. And it has 15,000 players every single Friday.
15,000?
15,000 from around the world, yeah. Every single Friday for the last 4 years.
Okay.
4 years. And they battle for prizes and prestige, and it's the largest paintball competition in the world. It happens to be digitally, but it's on your phone.
Great.
And we just finished up season 5.
Okay.
And we're about ready to go into. I don't know if we're ever going to do a season 6. We probably will, but Fields of Battle 2 is so close to being coming out. So it's almost it's right around 6 million downloads. It's top rated, 4.5 stars on all platforms. It's even on Steam for VR. Yeah, it's been very successful. It's been
I will hold my hands up and say I've never played Fields of Battle, but Friday Night Fight sounds good.
Every
really
Friday,
good.
and it's free. And this is my platform now. So this is what I use to promote my tour of duty. This is what I use to promote my sponsors all around the world. I have the greatest advertising pipeline in paintball.
Phenomenal. So if you win on a Friday night, what does that win? Is that like a leaderboard?
Yeah. So you can go on my website and see the leaderboard, and then every Friday, a live leaderboard is up just for that 24-hour period. So you can watch in real time where you rank, and I think it's like the top.
Now,
It might be top 500 or
do
top.
you play against them? Do you
Yeah,
actually play?
Yeah, so it's we call it a hybrid head-to-head. So I'm not actually looking at the other player's avatar, but at that time, every single player who's actively logged into that particular field all has the exact same criteria going on.
Oh, wow.
Same field, same equipment. So the playing field is level, but everyone's playing against bots at the time. But it's still head to head, and everything is still even playing field. I'm just not looking at that. But fast forward to Fields of Battle 2.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leak my business partner and great friend James Thrush told me that he was playing 200 v 200.
Oh, wow.
With live avatars as during the testing, and it was awesome. So the upcoming game is going to be real live avatars.
Now, is there a release date for Fields of Battle 2?
No, so here's the blessing about running your own show and not having a publisher to deal with.
Okay.
James and I decided that we're going to take our time and release a good game when it's ready. But and it's been frustrating. Both of my games were supposed to be out 2 years ago, but my business partner's been fighting sinus infections, and he's had to have 3 or 4 operations, and it also causes migraine headaches for him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's also my lead programmer, so it's hard to program. So people have been beating me up for the last couple years, and hey, you've been talking about these games, and but we've been working on them, and James has been just impressing the hell out of me. We just had a conversation, just a couple conversations over the last month, and he's been feeding me all the latest tech advancements on it.
Oh, great!
Yeah, it's doing fantastic. So right now, we're probably down to art. All the tech is where it should be, and the game is running and playing, and we're about ready to. You're probably going to see a beta release.
Oh, cool!
Which is really be exciting. So the next thing you'll probably see is a beta release, so people can get in, try all the tools.
I like it.
It's going to be all about customization. You're going to be building your own default parks, and the parks themselves are going to be ranked, user ranked. So you're going to have a leaderboard of parks, thousands of user created fields.
Oh.
Utilizing all of our tools and all
my own field. Oh, this is going to be great. Now, where can viewers find out about this? When it is released, even the beta version, where will that be announced?
So I have an invitation only site spot on Facebook called Core. You can also follow any of my pages. I will if you sign up to my fan page, my tour page, and I'm easy to find on Facebook. There's several that you can look up.
At this point, we will add like little Facebooky links here. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm easy to find. But the be all end all, where everything about all things Greg Hastings is gregredhastings.com. Perfect. Every single thing I do. So from there, you can go find all your social links to wherever you feel like going. And that has everything to do with gaming, my tour, time trials, all things, everything that I do starts there at gregredhastings.com.
Now, next on your calendar, before we get into the time trials and the tour of duty, next on your calendar is probably Paintball Extravaganza in a few weeks.
It is. A couple weeks. Thinking about driving up.
Ooh.
Thinking about driving the Jeep from Florida. That way I can hang out, come and go as I please, and then hang out with my Navy buddy Louie, who we just talked about. He's actually
cool.
Close by, and I'm wearing my Mad Frog.
Look at that.
Those are actually here in the States we hand make them, in Detroit. So I'll be meeting up with my Mad Frog team there to show off time trials at Extravaganza.
So Extravaganza is going to be, is that going to be a come and meet you, come and learn about everything that you're doing, or is it very specific in certain areas of what you're doing?
Well, the Paintball Extravaganza is the only North American place where stores, fields, and otherwise, and promoters can actually go and network, learn from top-level professionals in retail, distribution, advertising. You're going to learn something.
Sure.
But also you're going to be able to meet and shake the hand of the sellers of a lot of the top manufacturers and distributors. So it's a critical spot to come and do business where you're not distracted by anything other than you're right at the airport. You land, the hotel is right next to the airport. So you don't have to, it's super easy. You fly in, you can come in for a day, come in for 2 days, take a course, take a couple of courses. If you're a new park owner. And here's the thing, if you got a park that's been open for 20 years, and if I'm a park owner, I would literally send my new managers. I would send my top referees. Go learn something. Go meet and greet some people who you might not have met. Or you met at World Cup.
Very true.
And you only had 10 seconds to have a conversation. So, yes, you're going to be able to meet and greet me. I'm there on 2 levels. I'll be doing my they call it a round table. So I'm not standing. I don't think I'm going to be at a podium.
Oh no, you gotta make sure it is an actual round table.
Yeah, I think it's an actual round table where I can sit and field questions. There's no one set of solutions for everybody when it comes to marketing, right?
Correct.
So
well, I mean, not just marketing either. Product, format, et cetera, et cetera.
My goal there is to start the party with a few mindsets that I like to follow, and then I'm going to field questions. Ooh. So a park owner, I'm hoping that a park owner will tell me out loud, this is what I'm planning on doing.
Yeah.
This is what I got going on. What do you think of it to me? And then I'm going to give them I'm literally going to be, nope, that idea sucks, and here's why.
I'm happy to be the park owner in this role play.
I don't want you to waste playing. I don't want you to waste time. But if you have a few elements in there that are good paths that I think are to follow, so it's going to be very this way. So I can customize my response to you.
Correct.
I can give you my feeling of what direction I think you should take or not take.
Correct.
And then that way, and now that one question, now all the other field owners are listening in and now can be inspired to ask their next question.
So this is almost like a Gary Vee approach to developing paintball, in that, there isn't one solution. There isn't a lesson plan for this session. You've literally just got the lesson plan and just gone.
Yeah. Yep. I have a few. I'm going to start off by, it's almost like developing and letting them know the mindset that you're supposed to be in and what your ears should be acutely listening to.
Yes.
In your everyday interactions with anybody.
Yeah.
And how to
I like that.
Get that light bulb to go off. That's a path. That's a connection. That's a relationship I need to pursue.
Yes.
And then I'm going to field, and I have these all the time. And people watching this right now, I know there's field owners out there. They're going, "Yup, Greg, I'm talking to you right now." I literally am. I live it every day. I talk with park and field owners every single day
for
the last 30 years. And these are the lessons that I've learned that I'm going to be bringing to this class. I'm going to literally talk about real life experiences and current affairs that I'm literally working with these field owners on several different levels. And although the subject matter might be different, the spirit of it and the direction is critical. And those are the elements that I hope these field owners and store owners take away from what I discuss.
Yes, the approach is the commonality, isn't it? So yeah, I like that. Now, at Paintball Extravaganza, will you be doing anything time trial related?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, that was
So
an
my
extra
main man Rick
big.
Chard.
Okay.
My main man Rick Chard.
Are you gonna make Rick do a time trial? That's what I
Well,
want to see.
I have a few surprises. I actually don't want to talk too
Oh.
much about what I'm going to do there, but you will see a full level or almost a full level time trials right inside the building. Gave me the footprint.
Part of me is hoping that it is like Rick Chard versus Rick's dad. That would be. I would pay to watch that.
Well, the reason we're setting it up there is to show off the ease at which it can be built.
Okay.
Also to highlight its ease at which it can be adopted by fans. It's one of those moments where, okay, yeah, I can listen to Greg all I want. I can watch all these videos that he's posting.
Yeah.
I can look at all these proposals. I can look at all these different, presentations.
Correct. Yeah.
But now I can go there. I can listen to me right there and put your hands on an actual time trials and visualize this on your field. And then while they're standing right there, I'm going to tell them, now this isn't just for paintball. Time trials is for, we call it a four sport. Nerf.
Okay.
BB.
Yep.
Air power. So all air power.
Okay.
BB and pellet.
Okay.
Airsoft. Paintball.
Okay.
So it is ideal for those. So it encompasses every single age group, every single level of apprehension, and you'll hear me say that word apprehension a lot in my presentation.
That's a good turn of phrase. I like that.
Apprehension is the word we're trying to remove from the feelings of new time paintball players. That's the basis of time trials. It is remove the apprehension of being hit with a projectile.
Now, if you...
But just a brief amount of time until you go, wow, this is the good end. This is the bad end of my paintball marker.
Yes, definitely.
I'm getting used to wearing these goggles.
Now, at Paintball Extravaganza, you've obviously got a big percentage of industry representatives. You've got a decent turnout from field and store owners throughout the US, and to a certain extent, even wider than that, South America, Europe, etc. Are you gonna... I'd love it if there was a Extravaganza showdown where they all did the time trial. Like I can envisage Jacko from Eclipse against Mike Newman from Virtue type of thing. And the two of them being so competitive that, you have to limit them. You have to limit them.
This is where I go silent
on this. Just limit them. Only one go a day, guys. Sorry. Come back tomorrow and see if you can beat your score. Beat your time. And that'd be fantastic. Get Will from Valken on there. Telford. It'll be insane. Simon Stevens, I bet he would love it as well. So
one of the things that you'll see there is I mention this a lot in my presentation is I call them my early adopters.
Sure.
So my early adopting parks around the world are part of my steering committee.
Okay.
And I consult with them because I would be the biggest idiot in the world if I did not have my ears wide open because they know their region, they know their market, they have real-time feedback on time trials.
Now, when you see
Vitale from Boston Paintball is actually going to be on site, and he will also be there doing his thing, but he'll be also there to answer questions for anybody looking to adopt time trials. That way I shut up, and then a real paintball owner, and that guy's got 30 years experience running ball fields, right?
Yep, exactly.
That's where I shut up, and then the expert starts talking and tells you how cool time trials is and how it's built for success.
Now, just to clarify, when you say early adopters, you actually mean these are customers who have bought time trial kits.
So we're shooting for a global official launch of the website, the leaderboard, all that. First week in May this year.
Oh, cool!
I'm going to be at Super Game in Oregon with my time trials team. That's where I'll be. I'll be at time trials course number 1 at Sniper's Den.
Wow.
All of the other early adopting time trials from around the world are going to be running the very first global competition. It's never been done before. So there'll be a live leaderboard, live competition that whole weekend. Australia, Canada, all across the U.S. Hopefully National Paintball Fields UK has theirs set up. Skirmish has their field set up. And hopefully Mr. Jim Warped has his field set up.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I got Bertel in Poland.
Yeah.
And going to be setting one up. So I'm strategic all around the globe right now to have an initial launch of, I would say, 15 to 20 parks.
Okay.
Hopefully more. Right now I have a ton of interest, but it's just winter.
It's logistics, right?
It's winter.
Yeah. And weather.
So we'll see. I'm not concerned about them
too. So
but it's been going fantastic, man.
Cool.
Every day I get new people emailing me. I have a sign-up sheet on gregredhastings.com.
Okay.
There's a spot on there, time trials. So I get inquiries every single day.
Now, when you say, things like live leaderboard, etc., is this going towards leagues? Is this going towards, player of the month? Is this going towards, regional heats to then have, a World Cup type of final?
Every single thing out of your mouth.
Great.
Yes to every one of those.
Great.
It doesn't have to come from me.
Easiest interview in the world. Yeah, I like that.
Jed, I'll use an example. Jed, over at NPF.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Him and Frazier, they're setting up a time trials and they want to challenge a field in Australia.
Oh. We would play we'd play when they're asleep. We've won.
Right.
Easy.
And they called me. Yep. So, or I got Boston Paintball who wants to take on DBS Sports in Seattle.
Oh. Who would you bet on in that matchup? If the owner of each had to play?
It's hard to say. And you could have without me, they could literally do age brackets, male, female, top pros versus top pros. We have 3 formats. It's called speed, attack, and endurance, and it's just the amount of targets.
I think I'd be forced into attack because I'm not fast and I don't have endurance. So I'd have to be an attack.
It's all what the park owner wants to do. And then we just developed a new system called Team Relay. Whoa. It's a 3-man relay. So you have 3 players in position because it's a 3-level course, and then your first player plays, and he actually runs past the second player, and he releases him into that course.
Oh,
and then
cool.
he runs around, and then he runs past the other guy, and then releases him, and then so we have 3-player relay. It's unbelievable, man. The ability to have a park set their own league,
yes,
set own times, do all that stuff, and it'll all show up on our live leaderboard. So people will be able to log on. All right, Nick Truter. Nick Truter is, look at that, man. He's ranked 4,100 in time trials.
Oh, that's pretty harsh.
Hold on. Then you're going to be able to go UK, down to the UK.
Still 4,009. Woo!
Just so the cross, you mentioned it earlier. What is this leaderboard?
Yeah.
The leaderboard is how we cross over and make this as exciting as playing a video game.
Yes.
It is the single item why kids play video games. international recognition without having to be on a team.
Yes.
And so here it is. Now they can celebrate and show off their own skill around the world and put their own paintball field on the map. That's why these leagues will be cultivated by Boston Paintball is going to cultivate top-level pros, because these pros, even the amateurs, their scores are going to show up. Boston Paintball, Johnny Two-Tone, minute 41 seconds, mechanical, age 22. And that's and that's going to be seen all around the world in real time.
Please tell me you're going to make people sign up with their real name, and you can't choose a username.
I
don't want Rabid Squirrel 1908.
No. At the regional level, the fields will allow them to do whatever they want.
Okay.
Secret Squirrel 1, right?
Oh.
But hold on the international database, you're going to be assigned a number, and your real information will need to be shown. So if you use, we're still talking about that. Your real name and identity will be registered and logged internally. That way, because this is going to be a top-level league.
Yes.
International league with a set of rules. Every single park signs a license with me, and there's a big paragraph on there that all it discusses is integrity. Nikki,
right.
Integrity. You are signing that you will use the highest levels of integrity when entering the course scores. And your referees will also comply with the highest levels of integrity. There will be no time shaved off. That way, everyone in the world, when you see that score, you know that score is as legit as it can possibly be.
I like that. Well, and I guess that's essential. So
it has to be.
Yes.
It has to.
Very,
in order
cool.
for it to be taken seriously, universally, it has to. I have to be able to stand up tall and go, "Yup, that score is legit," and it's really easy.
Yes.
At field level, say Cousins Paintball down or Tanks Paintball down in Houston, Texas. There's a score. It's a live login, right? These are live. They're having an official scoring session.
Sure.
And there's one little discrepancy. One referee is unsure. The other refs are 100% sure in a different direction. Or, guess what? The score don't count. It just gets deleted. And that player goes back to one player might be a little bit upset, but they're going to have to understand a call might have been and they want to understand this as well. They want their score to not have any gray area.
Yep.
So I'm trying to that way there's no cheating. There's no cheating. If there's any discrepancy whatsoever,
it's out.
And it's even close, no score.
Okay.
And just go back and try it again. Do it again. Okay, your score would have been great, but there would have been a cloud hanging over it. People would have been like, "Oh, that fool's," you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like common sports right now, just like in the NFL, just like in other sports where there's replays, all of those things could be in play. There could be instant replay on this, but there are going to be live leaderboards. Will be legitimately scored and legitimately. Nikki T, let me tell you what I want to do.
Tell me, Greg.
I want to have 500 parks running time trials over the next 5 years, and I'm going to make a play for the Olympics.
I like it.
All running the same score.
Let me just do some mental math.
Same scores. So if 60 countries are running time trials, all running off the same skill, all the same rule sets, that puts us in the ballpark of going to the Olympics, because right now the Olympics have air-powered shooting.
Yeah.
It's already in there. So that's my lofty goals, man. Time trials has a big growth opportunity for our sport.
I like it.
Solving industry problems, and that is this apprehension. Remember that word I was going to tell you? I'm trying to remove apprehensions from moms and kids and from anyone who wants to try air-powered sport.
So the 2024 Olympics, we could see time trials at? That's
No,
what
it
you're
would be a
telling me.
lot longer than that because you'd have to show lots of demonstrations. I'm not looking at a date, but all I know is when we have, and this is the critical element. If
Yeah.
you hear the same thing all over the place online. How come we're not in the Olympics? Because our industry can't even get past rule number one.
True.
So the list of rules is this long.
True.
We can't even get past rule number one. So we're a sad state of affairs. So to all you watching this, stop asking how we're going to get on the Olympics. It's never going to happen because we can't get past line item number one. We can't get past line item number one. So time trials, will get us past line item number one, as well as a whole bunch of other lines. Never been done before.
Super interesting. I mean, and you're right to not put a date stamp on it because it's no longer a when. Well, it's no longer an if, rather. It swiftly moves into a when, which is phenomenal. So I think that's hugely important as well. It really is. So I like that a lot, an awful lot. So other than Super Game in May, when and where can the, let's say, average player actually try time trials for themselves?
So we'll be releasing lots of information on where to go. Part of that database and part of this whole relationship with these parks is we become one big marketing team, Nick.
Sure.
We all now support each other.
Sure.
So everything Greg Hastings does will promote time trials and where to go play and where to attempt to go do it.
Yeah.
And it'll become self-sustaining.
And it's literally going to be almost like, you log into your your car website and you go find my nearest dealer. This will be find my nearest time trial.
Yep, exactly.
Post,
and you're going to see an app. There'll be an app associated with this. And this app will have, just like every other app, turn this on, turn this on, turn this off, turn this on, turn this off.
Sure.
So I'm literally going to be able to go notify me when my closest time trials is having an official scoring session on. Notify when my buddy Nicky T his score changes on.
Oh,
notify
breaks
when
into
my
the top
score
4,000.
is beat in New Jersey on.
Right.
Notify me when my friend at Boston Paintball beat my time trial score on.
Right.
So it'll be this incredible way to have kids and picture that. Even moms are going to be able to download these apps and communicate with other moms at a 10-year-old birthday party.
Right.
So 10-year-old birthday parties, mom's going to be able to download the app and show their kids their live scores right there while mom's sitting right by the net.
Wow. That's great.
And
of course,
that mom can now tell all the moms of the other kids who moms aren't there, hey, download the app and see how well your kid's doing on there. And also get free passes to come play paintball.
I like it.
I'm going to say it right now. I have the world's greatest growth opportunity right here called time trials.
I like it. I like it a lot. And of course, the additional layer that you already have is, the mobile games. So you can reach all these kids and say, hey, this is now available, etc., etc., etc.
Let me show you something.
Oh.
Let me show you something. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick here.
You an Android or an iPhone guy?
iPhone.
Or a Nokia 3100?
All right. Can you see that?
Yes. See that?
See this ad?
Yeah.
That's an ad. That's seen 100,000 times a day.
Oh, that's not bad, is it?
And it's a link.
I like
this
it.
This page is seen 100,000 times per day.
Love it.
Right here is where my sponsors go, my tour of duty goes. Anything you do with me goes right here. So time trials will be right there.
Love it. Super
so
cool.
You're going to have, and time trials is actually going to be on the phone too. You're going to be able to build your own time trials and compete on the mobile
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
I'm marketing time trials with time trials through my video games.
I'm getting my little ninjas on board. They're going to love it.
So
They're
this is
going
what
to
I'm
love
bringing
it.
to the table for all these park owners. I'm bringing them together to all cooperate on one set of rules with one initiative, and we all focus on the same thing with the same, we're all going to row at the same time.
I really like that, it's all held together with the common theme of, how do we overcome the apprehension? Not just from the player's perspective, but also from the business owner's perspective. How do we actually use all of these strengths that we have? There are marketing geniuses within the paintball industry. There's product designers who, create some phenomenal equipment for us to use, etc., etc. There's, people great in front of camera, people great behind the camera in terms of production. And it's fascinating to view this from multiple perspectives, because I can't remember a time where there's been so much opportunity in paintball. I can remember times where one entity's been pushing, but I can't actually remember a time when 10 separate entities have all been pushing paintball forward. Yep. And that's, that's inspiring, because, there's content, for the YouTubes, the vloggers, the writers, we've got print mags back, and they deserve our support. There's digital media, there's, video games on mobiles, etc. There's time trials that don't just help paintball, they help the air-powered side of things. They help to create these crossovers, etc., etc. So super exciting times, because that we are looking at the next world champion could be a 15-year-old kid from your hometown.
Absolutely, anywhere in the world. Yeah,
Anywhere.
So in the spirit of when we first designed time trials, when you first look at it and you're a top pro, you might go, "Oh, it's a target range."
Sure.
But 5 seconds after you watch your buddy go do a faster time than you, and you can't beat his time, it becomes the highest level competition ever.
Exactly.
With a precise, finite rule set.
And let's call it powered by pride, because that's ultimately what it will be, right?
Yep. So the youngest of kid with all the apprehensions in the world will love time trials, and I've watched it all the way up to the top level professional battling this. So you're gonna see time trials as I'm gonna try and get it televised, man. In fact, I don't know if you followed that I was behind getting paintball on Orange County Chopper's show, American Chopper.
I did notice that. Yes, indeed. Yes,
so,
indeed.
I was able to call my buddies Mad Frog, and we built a hybrid time trials, and we boxed it up, put it on a trailer, and delivered it to the front lawn of the actual Orange County Choppers, and we ran a full ran a tournament.
Right. Oh, awesome. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
I had the top pros running it. I had the people who have never played paintball running it, and everyone was cheering on the sidelines, just the way the spirit of. And so it's going to be televised.
Superb.
The first time.
That's absolutely fantastic. So just to summarize, Greg, anything and everything that you're up to can be discovered on gregredhastings.com.
gregredhastings.com. Almost everything.
And if people, almost everything. And if people are, if dealers are watching this, if industry personnel are watching this, you're going to be at Paintball Extravaganza. Come across, see you. Hopefully try time trials out for yourself, etc. You're going to be at Super Game. You're going to be traveling around the world, presumably, on the tour of duty.
I'm not releasing any of my tour dates yet, except for definitely going to Super Game.
Super Game, of course.
Yeah.
Superb. Well, thank you very much for your time, Greg. Really appreciate it, and appreciate you updating us all on anything and everything that you're doing. It's fantastic.
Truternology, baby. Truternology.
Well, I'm obviously going to have to speak to you about getting an ad now, aren't I? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, it's an honor to speak with you, old friend. I enjoy engaging with people who are like-minded. You can't fake enthusiasm with our sport.
Very
It cannot be faked. It can't be faked. It's impossible to fake. You are the real deal. You are genuine. I'm looking at your sleeve because your heart is right on it. Your paintball heart is right on it.
You saw it through my tan?
I saw it. It's my pleasure to speak with you. It's an honor, man. I wish you the best. Please invite me back on again.
Yes.
Anything I can do to help you, sir, give me a shout.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Greg.